Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a quick message for you. I'm gonna get right into it. The bottom of the deck is the Moon card, so I'm expecting that maybe we're uncovering some information that's been under the surface or hidden, or maybe something emotional coming to light. It's also Cancer season, so happy birthday, Cancers. The Moon is your ruling planet. Perhaps it's something in the vein of what's to be expected this season as we're diving deeper into our emotional selves and learning how to nurture ourselves, be nurtured more holistically, and also to be led by our emotional intelligence, which is also a big Cancer energy, psychic abilities. Even yeah, how about that? So that's the Queen of Pentacles here, first one out, and at the bottom of the deck we have the Five of Swords. So maybe there's some energies coming toward your the value of you, coming against your high value in a material sense. But again, as I said, consider that with us being in Cancer season and the way the universe is kind of projecting us right now is to be more in tune with the value of our energetic nature. So although Queen of Pentacles is a material focus, me speaking about that Moon energy and that Cancer energy is more so about you being in tune with the energies that are adverse to your emotional high vibration and high value. So protect your energy this season. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Oh wow. And I almost didn't take that. And this is still at the bottom of the deck. There's some determination for destruction or demise, but it's already been defeated, which is what I always like to make note of when the Five of Swords comes out. That means there was or is some plan to create a disturbance or a distraction, disruption to your value or things that you value or hold dearly, but it's really going to destroy itself one way or another. And then we have the King of Pentacles, which obviously is a counterpart to the Queen of Pentacles. So this is your masculine material energy. We got the feminine out, who's all about receiving. Masculine is about projecting or being proactive in his creativity. And in the middle is yet another card of competition, a competition or confusion. Is similar to this card. This is a more violent octave of this, or I should say perspective. It's not an octave, but it's a more violent perspective of this here. This is about competition over advancement. Yeah, wow. Because this Three of Pentacles is speaking to me by way of higher education right now and advancement. Again, it's the competition is okay. So the competition is motivated by material. What's the right word? Like, it's a materially motivated competition, meaning those that are, or the things that are looking to put themselves in a position to be adverse to your energy are doing it by way of wanting to gain a material gain from it. There's a material self-interest. That's what I'm trying to get out. There's a material self-interest to be exalted in some way, shape, or form, because this is kind of like an exaltation by, I don't even know how to say that. I'm probably spending too much time on this, but it's about being elevated in some sense of power or authority. And there's competition that wants to disrupt that ordinance. Yeah, because it's like there's some conversation or judgment, decision making happening about the destiny of high vibrational individuals. We got two counterparts here, and this says to me that the female, the feminine energy is kind of like somehow separated from this confusion, but a part of it too, in a sense. But she just may not be as, oh, that's why. She may not be as affected. And when I say she, I mean even the feminine energy within us all. The receptive aspect of us is not as phased as the projective aspect of us, because there's something that we all know is due to us because of past investments. But there's a bit of a disturbance in the competition that's created in the earth energetically can project to you that there's something more that you need to do in the masculine energy to receive the ordinance or the blessing, the gift, the reward, the return that really is already due to you in this state of being. But because we live in this realm that, encourages us to do and have, a lot of us can get caught in that competitive nature and maybe even begin to gamble our creative force, or what do you call it? Sacrifice, our creative force to exert more energy than what is actually called for to receive, like I said, the ordinance that's already been mandated, or I don't know what the word I'm trying to find here. It's already written, more or less. You've already done the work. These two imply that they're already wealthy. But what is this competition about? It's external and it's internal, because those that want your spot, whatever that spot may be, are imposing. Oh shoot, okay, I see it. From a universal aspect, it's this energy here is looking to create a demise in individuals that are realizing their wealth and their worth outside of this competitive energy, realizing that they don't have to compete for what is ordained to them. All you have to do is be. Here is about, you see, this energy is on the verge of this chaos and confusion here, because he's too caught up in doing and performing for said reward and return, then he would be in peace and solitude, and perhaps even in true and pure prosperity, if he would just be his natural self, or her natural self, whatever the case may be. So it's about really releasing yourself from the collusion of society, which is hard to do because, as I've been saying quite a bit, we've all been conditioned a certain way, that life is supposed to be a struggle, it's supposed to be hard, it's supposed to be, this fight to the top, and there are only certain spots, this is about exclusivity here. This card is giving me that only a few are going to be chosen to inhabit, prosperity and to have a life of abundance. But you're already entitled to that just by your divine origins. You're a multi-dimensional being. You exist beyond this sensational realm of time, so that you can really create and attract any desirable outcome that you put your mind to. This one is focused on that pentacle. This one, would be focused if it wasn't for this interference here. So that's what I'm saying. And the determination of demise, again, is for there to be a mental um, illusion presented to us collectively, but especially those of us that are looking to be sovereign spirits in this sensational world, to believe that your unique individualistic way of seeing life and seeing the world is ultimately not going to gain you the success and the satisfaction that you desire. But I'm here to tell you that this is defeated because too many people are waking up to their true value and realizing that it's about working smart and not hard. Well, at least working smarter than you are hard, than you are working harder. And it's turning society kind of upside down, because if you can stay in this position of competition and focus on making more money than you know what to do with, and stocking up all the physical and material rewards for your efforts than you are spiritually and emotionally, as I was talking about in the beginning, then you will continue to fuel society as it is, that cycle of greed that we're all kind of been running on the treadmill for, working our fingers to the bone to contribute to a society that really does not give back to us. We're contributing more to that system than it is really contributing to our vitality and ultimately to our well-being, our value. So let's see what else we got. What's that? That's 2 cards. Oh, okay. So we got the 6 of Wands and the 2 of Wands. Together, that would be the 8 of Wands, which is what? What's 8 of Wands? 8 of Wands. Oh, yeah, this is fast action communication, new opportunities coming from an ethereal space, from a spiritual space, manifestation on its highest vibration, attraction in its highest vibration. Hold on, I gotta see. Excuse me. It's this is about a plan, and this is actually speaking to what I'm saying. It's about making a plan of action toward victory and success. And your plans of action, how you, and even bigger than that, because this guy, when you really get into it, it's like he chose a higher, to me, it's in this regard, it's saying that he chose a higher vibration of action than what may have been presented by the world. So sometimes when I see this card, I look at this world and I say, like, it's so small, in the grand scheme of things. Like, he's holding it in his hand, for God's sake. It's like a volleyball, And I see how it relates to this spread as it is that sometimes the world view can be projected to us in a very small, insignificant way in the grand scheme of its universal force. Like, our focus can be so small on things that don't really matter, and so our actions follow suit in pursuit of those things that don't really matter, and it just derails our vitality and our force to be more impactful for ourselves and for others in a bigger way. We get so fixated on day-to-day things that we forget about the big picture. In the world, instead of it expanding our opportunities, it becomes very small. But I see in this picture, it's like he took the higher road. Like, this staff here is a bit elevated than this one. Like, he chose to perhaps even die, because sometimes this thing here gives me like tombstone energy. He chose to perhaps even die to the ways of the world as they are most conventionally known, and taking a higher perspective and a higher approach to how he wants to live his life, you know, and it might be outside of, again, what's conventional or traditional, but what these two cards together tell me is that that's the road that is leading to a space that's beyond the competition, that elevates you above the rest, like head and shoulders above the rest. And it might be something that seems like a small step in this moment, and again, out of step with the rest of the world, which sometimes can be very uncomfortable and challenging in its own right. But what it leads is to a greater victory and a longevity and success. You know, this is what this card gives, because behind he or she, I always say I used to see it as a she, but in this span, it could absolutely be a he, and is in the actual deck. Behind this individual that's surging ahead in victory and success is this competition. That's the Five of Wands. This is the Six. That's the progression. You know, that's literally all these people down here. Now, in this card, while they back here fighting, meanwhile, you're moving ahead in your own right, in your own integrity, by the power that has been vested in you. Wands is power, passion, force, you know, life force and fuel. You're moving beyond the competition, and it's like you're leaving the world behind, in a sense, you know, leaving people to fight and leaving them to their own devices, and not the most high vibrational way, and in a way that at first may have seemed to be outside of the box. But ultimately, which one would you like to have? If you had your choice, you know, one over the other, which fate would you choose? You know, to be fighting for a couple pennies and dollars, or to be making your own lane, you know, maybe opening your own bank. You know what I'm saying? Which is very much in line with the energies that came out first, which are what? The King of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. Those are the king, that's the Queen pen and the King pen right there. They make their own money. You know, they create wealth on their own terms, and creatively so. And not only do they know how to create it, they know how to multiply it and maintain it, and then attract even more wealth to them. So here we have that there. Oh, these two were together, I believe. Yeah, like this. So victory and success for those that are brave enough, courageous enough to walk their own path and do something different, maybe create, because wands are creative energy, to create something different in their own right that's going to be lasting and productive in society, because that's what's truly lasting, creating something that is needed and wanted. You know, that's not just, you know, self-interest or self-focused, but it's something that can contribute to the world at large. That's how I feel. And then under the deck, during that card, I should have picked it up, but is the Ten of Wands. So I feel like this is signifying just like the end of those cycles, you know what I mean, where you're in pursuit of fame and fortune for superficial reasons. Like, if you're still moving in that way where you're not, I shouldn't even say it so primitively, like fame and fortune for, that's an example of, you know, falling in line with the conventions of the world. That's just one of the many things, but it's one of the most prevalent things that we experience day to day. But you know, it's like that's pretty much a dead end. You know, there's no hope at the end of that road. It's kind of a dead end right now for you to still allow yourself to be manipulated by the forces of by formidable forces, you know, forces that incite fear and scarcity and competition and chaos and that basically are the adversaries of pure creativity. You know, here is an opportunity to put an end to that perspective, with swords being mental energy and your thoughts and things, which we know is what manifests in reality, and what is the attractive force, or what you're thinking about yourself and how you perceive yourself, the truth of who you are and your position in this world, in this realm. You can put an end to that illusion and disillusion about yourself and do something different and move ahead and leave cycles of dead ends behind, and stop betraying yourself, ultimately, is what that says, because you can't be any more betrayed by society than you allow yourself to be. You know, at this point in time, there's so much information out here that if you allow yourself to be blind, and you know, what the choices that we're making here at this point are, we're accountable for those. Nobody's making you do anything at this point. There's too much information, too much exposure happening day to day, so that now, if you so choose to continue on living the life that leads to nowhere, then that's kind of on you. You know, you're your own tour guide on that on that road trip to hell. And there's the judgment card that came up. Judgment, oh Jesus, and death. My God. Talk about road trip to hell. But death is also transformation and transition. But based on what I was just saying, that's a pretty strong energy, isn't it, to come out. This is the card that flipped over. This is the card under the deck. I hope that can be seen, how these are, because when I stop, I'm not sure if anything's going to get cut out over here. But anyway, judgment, you know, it's like time's up, or, you know, you get to do something different. You know what I mean? Like, either if you're going to continue on the path that leads to nowhere, the judgment's already been called on that path. So you have to meet the justice of that path. But if you are willing to do something different, then in fact, you know, there is a fresh outcome for you on the other end. And for those that are, you know, making choices that are unconventional, and you know, just doing something out of the norm of what they've always done, or what is always done, there's an opportunity, I would say, for regeneration of new life, you know, in that regard. Meaning you'll get to, if you're willing to do something different, you'll experience something different in life in a fantastical way, I would like to believe, because this is of ethereal energy here. This is like a call to, you know, it's like the heavens waking you up out of from the dead. Looky there, you know, you're rising from the dead. And in this case, the most practical way to perceive it is, like I said, mentalities that are not vital, you know, that lead to more fear, more destruction, more demise, that leads you into that Five of Swords energy, where you're basically destroying yourself or cutting your life short from being as expansive and evolutionary as it can be. Well, now not only do you get to evolve, you get to experience a life that perhaps you never even knew was possible, you know, in this judgment card. So let's keep going. I like that. That's cool. Let's see what else we got. Already 24 minutes? Is that for real? Damn. I could have stopped there, but let's see what's on the other side of judgment, if we will. Even though you won't be able to see it unless I pull it down. I'll pull it down. What's the judgment call right now? And I hear like that's also, it's for you to make judgment calls in your life. There's some things that we're being called to make decisions on and to perhaps put an ending to. Yeah, look at that. Yep. Ace of Wands. Not only is that a confirmation yes card, but that also speaks to divine action, to take action in your own life. You know, wow, this is a very powerful message about action, you know, about the choices that we're making. But this is divine inspiration, to expand. And this, how I'm lining this up here, not even intentionally, but it makes a lot of sense, because this is that wand here where you stand out from the crowd. Now I can spread them out a little more, I guess. Where you stand out from the crowd and from the competition. You don't become a part of it. You don't allow yourself to get sucked into that. Oh, you can't see it, good God. You don't allow yourself to get sucked into that chaos and confusion. And it may come in the sense of, let's see, oh, so when we're talking about money here, because as I've been saying lately, I sometimes I'm just talking as I feel led, and then I go back and I'm like, oh snap, that was much bigger than I realized. But we may be talking about a change in the financial systems, you know, which we're already incurring. It's not like that's a big aha or surprise, but it may be something a little bit more, impactful than it has been. Oh my gosh, and the death card is back on the bottom. Now, I've been shuffling like this, and the death card is on the bottom again. So there's a transformation happening by way of, again, our energies to produce, to make a material gain, to make money, to work, to carry out our energetic force in the most creative sense, because this is the highest vibration of creativity one can have, the Ace of Wands, because that's implying that it comes from a multi-dimensional space, you know, one that's not confined by the earth. Oh, sorry, I was distracted by my neighbors who I think are having sex right now. That's just wonderful, and actually in alignment with this Ace of Wands. So Spirit, bring it on back, why don't you? Yeah. So there are, okay. So the masculine is getting a new wand. He's learning the power of his wand holistically. And the feminine is, okay, thank you, Spirit, thank you, neighbors. The feminine's been, has conceptualized her powers in ways beyond what the masculine can truly, has up until this point been able to naturally conceive and perceive, because as feminine energies, we just have a different connection to our ethereal energy and to our ethereal essence than masculines do most divinely. Because why? Masculines are more engaged in the protecting, the providing, the competitions, the what's the right word, like conquering life in a certain sense, you know, building, creating, you know, and it is a competitive force in that arena and has been for the masculine innately. For the feminine, we've kind of been conditioned to take more of a backseat and energetic role in how we attract energy to us and how we manifest. And that energy has been blocked for many of us, which is why this Judgment card is lining up perfectly now, because where we're being awakened to our true essence and our true power to manifest innately, that Cancer energy is the mother energy, how we can take a seed and create a soul, almost, you know, create a spirit. You know, we can take something small and create something of great magnitude, of great life force. It's in a practical way, and it's in a spiritual way that we're able to do that. Even when you think about the roles of the masculine and feminine in general, how feminines can manage multiple things on their back and still somehow be able to maintain, or at least have the appearance of maintaining, and masculines have their strengths, of course, where they can go out into this world and conquer and bring home the bacon. And not to say both can't do both, this is not about that here, but we're talking about that innate energy that, you know, some have more dominantly than others, because in actuality we all have masculine and feminine energy within us. But here the feminine is being raised up, you know, in a sense, to her highest vibrational essence. The masculine is being elevated too, but by way of she's being raised up by her self-awareness of her energy. So now she's realizing the power of the gift that is inside of her and her ability to create life innately. There's awareness there. The masculine is experiencing his awareness that he doesn't need to participate in these archaic expressions of power in order to truly be powerful, in order to truly have something to show for his efforts. He just needs to be the power. You know, he needs to truly be aware of the uniqueness of his wand in every sense of the word, you know, the power that only he possesses from amongst the crowd, from outside of the crowd, that ordains him to be special in every way, to use that energy, this wand, to then take to create with, you know, the feminine that is his ideal match, you know. And I'm saying this in a personal way, I mean in a you know, a practical way, a professional way, in every way, shape, and form. It's about knowing where to invest your energy. You can allow it to be lost in the shuffle here in this competitive world, and maybe be spreading yourself too thin and wasting your energy, and because it's poorly invested. Or you can align with that is a divine match with you in any way, shape, and form. Again, this could be personally or professionally, but aligning with people, places, and things that are awakened in such a way that it creates an exalted experience in the earth. This is exaltation. This is exalted. This is exalted. These two energies, masculine and feminine, are exalted beyond this energy here. And this card here says to me that the exaltation is beyond physical. You know, it's already been written. I said that already, but it's beyond what is man-made or man determined. Society doesn't tell you how you're exalted. It doesn't tell you, shouldn't dictate to you your value. That comes from a very internal space, and a space beyond practical conception, quite honestly. You know, as we see here, choice being made to exalt yourself beyond the crowd, beyond the natural order of society, and you can gain the whole world, your own piece of it, your own perspective of it, by solidifying your soul in the truth of who you are and the value that you have to add to this life, you know. And the death card is just, again, like a death to a transformation of the ways that we see our value, the ways that we perceive ourselves as, the ways that we project our value, and the ways that we perceive our value, and the ways that we project our value. So how we're seeing ourselves differently, and then how we're taking that value, this exalted position of evolved and exalted position of existence, and now doing something that makes an impact from a larger scale, you know, from a let's see, what's that, from an expanded view. Wow, yep. Wow, look at that. That's the Ace of Swords, yet again, another ace, and that's the divine truth and clarity right there. The Hangman, which is about enlightenment. To me, this is saying that the enlightenment is here, even in what we're experiencing in this message right now, that we're being enlightened to be what? The most, man, the Queen of Swords and her high vibration is one that is, genius, more or less. Like, she knows how to think through her circumstances in a way. Oh my gosh, and the Hierophant is on the bottom. I'll show you in a sec. But she knows she don't take no shit. She's open to the possibilities of life, but she also wields that sword of truth. So if you're coming to which is here, so this is the transition here, and once again putting you in the feminine aspect, which allows for you to be an attractive force and not so much a proactive force. We're moving away from society as a slave mill, where we're just working and working and working and not even for our own good. It's really to contribute to someone else's creation. But this feminine aspect of the swords, the Queen of Swords, the highest queen of logic and understanding, and like I said, when you think of the King of Swords, he's like the expert in his field. Well, the feminine aspect of that is more or less the same. Like, she's master of her mental authority. She's not, which is hard to be when we consider, as I said, that everything manifests from the mental state, from this hangman state that we've all been in, waiting for divine clarity to come in and speak to us about our individual situations. The issue comes when we let society speak to us and tell us who we are and who we're not. But the highest vibration of this all is when we allow our reality to speak to us, the divine truth to speak to us, like what God says about you, more or less, to put it kind of primitively, to be honest, in the grand scheme of what I'm talking about. But for you to know your universal truth, your divine identity, that means when you're at this King of Swords position and things are coming your way to align with you, to offer to you, to be a part of your court, to contribute to your court, or even to, solicit some aspect of your kingdom, you have the discernment from this starting position of clarity and truth to know that it's either a positive, it's an addition or a subtraction, which is what you need to know from this point of being the queen pin and the king pin. You need to know, once you've acquired and established this wealth and this value in a material sense, it's important for you to continue to be discerning, to know how to protect your investments and how to expand your investments, plain and simply. And that's in the most energetic form, meaning your spirit, your time, and it's in the most material form in your money, like literally how to invest your money. And I was saying earlier, which I don't think I really finished the statement because something else took me somewhere else, but there might be some issues with money coming up. I feel like it's just like some shifts in the financial system, that could cause a bit of a frenzy. This competition, it could be some type of world experience. I don't want to say disaster, because I wouldn't even look at it as a disaster, even if the rest of the world looked at it. And that's the point, right? It's about your perspective and how you see your circumstances and see the world around you, as to how you get to project your own success above the rest. Case in point, the pandemic. Some people saw it as an opportunity, some people saw it as opposition. It may have been a little bit of both, but the decisions that you made from an exalted perspective are what ultimately have ushered you into this very point of prosperity that you're in even at this moment in time. And that could just be a mental point of prosperity, like knowing exactly how you fit into society and how you don't. Knowing based on the exposures that have come to light, how you then get to reinvest yourself into that sphere for the better or for the worse. That's a high point of position to be in, because your pentacles are not just about money, they're about your energy, your time. Like I was saying before about the election, which now it's all coming together, of course, when we're already 40 minutes in. I was saying that, there were just certain choices that I made against the grain during that election time where I was like, I can't invest my energy into that. I don't have a dog in that fight. And even my family was beating me down, like, you're not going to vote. Yeah, like I voted for Obama. I even voted for Hillary. Go figure, once upon a time. But there was just something about this last election that I kind of woke up from and was saying, you know what? I'm just going to sit and observe and see how this plays out and reserve my energy for more important things, in my opinion. So it's something simple like that where everyone else is telling you like, you stupid, or not, maybe nobody told me I was stupid, but they made me feel like I was, I wasn't really operating from a mature perspective in my national and my nationalistic self to not vote. If people fought for the vote and your ancestors died to have a chance to have a say, and all of that is all fine and good, but you have to recognize where there once was a smart investment to be made, now may not be so. And you also have to understand the starting points of things that were done in the past and really evaluate whether or not that's something that has true value now and that should persist for a productive outcome in the present moment. Just because it's always been done doesn't mean that it is productive or prosperous, no less. Just because it's worked in the past doesn't mean that it works now, and doesn't mean that it'll continue to work. As we know, we're in a world that's shifting drastically and more acceleratedly every single day. And back to the money thing, that something keeps pulling me away from it. There may be some challenges in the financial system in a material sense that could cause confusion or erupt some bit of fear, or I hear chaos, but I'll say just confusion and some, oh, are you kidding me? Hold on, I hope I'm still recording. I think it's just my phone telling me it's low battery. But and it's almost full, so I thought that was that telling me like, it's just low battery. That, again, try to interrupt this message, but there's something that's coming that's going to challenge our perspectives of security and stability from a financial perspective. It could be on a huge scale from the actual financial institutions. It could be something like a pandemic-esque or some type of circumstance that directly impacts our financial security and stability, as if we were all that stable and secure from the last impact. But I believe, it could be something that could jar society as a whole and maybe cause a little bit of confusion within the masses. But it's up to you to really decide where you stand on that and how you're going to position yourself to be successful no matter what the odds. There was adversity that came up a lot in the cards underneath of us. And the Hierophant here, which I'm hoping can be seen because I can't really see my screen anymore, but the Hierophant here is about world systems of power and authority, and that speaks even more to it. Like, it's like in the spiritual sense, it's like God, but it also speaks to like structures of power that have assumed positions of authority and, that have, as you can see, like established themselves over the masses to perpetuate an imbalance of sorts, whether it be religious, whether it be financial, it could be mental, it could be spiritual, it could be educational. This just implies an imbalance in power and perhaps a manipulation of power, since a lot of those undercards have been quite derogatory, I would say, in this sense, perhaps a manipulation of power in those moments of despair to offer some solace or some, make some offering of, oh, like, think about the pandemic, like, oh, this is what we're all experiencing, this is the answer, this is the solution. And for the sake of alleviating chaos and confusion and concern and fear, you might jump on that. You might start masking up again, you might start getting shots again, you might start staying away from people and doing all those other things that incited us to operate in opposition to a full and energetic life. It could be that again, because the shadow government, so to speak, is kind of losing its grip, as I said, again, back to the beginning, on the control over these awakenings where people are starting to really see their value and know that it exists outside of the confines of society and outside of the competition and chaos and confusion and capitalism even that we've created in this nation, at least, perhaps in the entire world, for sure, to build systems that ultimately don't work for us, but that we work for. That overturning of society is not beneficial to the powers that be, or the powers that were, as I like to say, that have an invested interest in monopolizing power and control, because the people are the resources. So if the people stop working to produce the bottom line, or produce for the purposes of the bottom line, to build and create use their creative force to build other creations that don't belong to them, and to add value to companies that they don't have any right or even stock in, and they start actually building their own enterprises and building their own legacies and becoming their own banks, is what I said before, right? That you might become your own bank. If people start to become so self-sufficient, so sovereign, so independent, and less codependent creatively, where will that leave the powers that be? Who are they going to get to do their labor? Ask Florida, as they expelled all those, innocent people, scattered them to and fro, and then we're wondering why they don't have nobody to help out, to do jobs that they don't know how to do, that they don't know, that they don't want to do even, and I'm not speaking to the politics of that as if I'm for or against anything, but I'm just speaking to it in the sense that low vibrational force, again, to project control and power and authority over individuals that nobody, over people, places, and spaces that nobody truly owns, because none of us own this land, really, and none of us own each other, and everything that we that is created is in some co-creative aspect with one another, and if really in this case it's on the backs of others' creativity, not even a personal resource. It's something else that you use to get what you got. So in that regard, there should be a starting point of liberty for creativity for all, but that wouldn't be beneficial to those that want to do less and have more. Now, would it? No, it wouldn't. So again, there's no limit that, the powers that be or were wouldn't go to try to maintain or reinforce their power. So just be aware that that's a possibility, that there could be something on the horizon that tries to knock us back into our shells, literally, crab being Cancer season, tries to knock us back into our shells, maybe into our homes, maybe send us back into bouts of fear about our vitality and about our potential for our own personal sovereign victory and success on the highest level of creativity. But if you're listening to this message, then you already know your value. You know full well, and if you don't, you know now that you are extremely valuable. If nothing else, the fact that the powers that be want to tell you that you're not should be even more evidence of how invaluable you truly are. That you're a resource that is just a hot commodity, and the powers that be don't want to let you go. So if you're that important to someone else's creativity, imagine how invaluable you are to something that is of your own passion, of your own inception, in spirit and in truth. All right, so I'm gonna leave it there because I definitely, of course, went too damn long, and I meant to be 20 minutes and now it's 50. So keep your eyes peeled, maintain your position of value, the highest value, by knowing that it's your internal force that is truly the diamond in the rough, in this rough of this realm that we're all experiencing. And don't be distracted by the creation of competition and confusion and chaos that might want you to revert back to archaic expressions of life that just don't hold any value anymore. We're not going backwards, we're going forwards, and we're going forward as a sovereign spirit in this infinite universal order, this sovereign spiritual force in this infinite world that we're living in. And there's nothing that can contain that, restrain that, even if it appears, to have the power to do so. It does not. You are the sovereign power of yourself. And although you may not fully be able to control the circumstances or whatever goes on around you or around us, you can absolutely control and take responsibility and accountability for your responses to it. Okay? So be it so in spirit and in truth, successful and victorious and prosperous indeed, and I will catch you on the next one.